I seriously think Houston man is rivaling Florida man for the crazy crap we see on the channel. Hi everyone, welcome to today's badge cam lesson here at Active Self-Protection. It's a doozy. I'm your host as always, John Correa.
I'm your co-host, Mike Williver. Today's video comes to us from, you know where it comes to us from.
The Filster Enigma is a revolutionary holster chassis system that completely divorces your holster and gun from your clothing, giving you unprecedented concealment whether in sweatpants or formal wear. It attaches to your AIWB holster via the wing and allows incredible flexibility for your concealed carry. Get yours at the link below.
Officers here are responding. Somebody has flagged them down and said two dudes are fighting in the middle of the road. You can see here on the dash cam, indeed, officers roll up and see two dudes fighting in the middle of the road. And so they're gonna get up and kind of engage these guys. Now, what these officers don't know at this time, this actually was an armed robbery. That the dude who's on the bottom right now came up to the dude who was sleeping in his tractor trailer and pointed a gun at him. And so then that guy got out and they fought over the gun. That gun actually had discharged once. Again, the officers don't know this. So they're gonna kind of get these guys and put them apart. Gonna hear the officer here again. If you go watch the original, it's even longer. There's got more badge cams in it. And he says to the guy in the light colors, hey, I've dealt with you before, right? You know, and okay, I'm gonna put everybody in cuffs, just see what everybody's going on. Now, the other guy here, his gun is actually on the ground and he is going to grab it. That's a bad idea. Let's listen into what happens from here because we have some audio.
Hey, get off of her. Get off of her. Get off. What the fuck? Hey. Yeah. Hold on.
I'm in the bag, waiting to take you down.
4-3, 1 out of 10. Try here. I got it.
I don't know what you talking about.
Hey, stay right here.
You want to search him?
Stay right here. 4-3, we're gonna need HFD. Sim code 1. Hey, move!
Hey, no shooting. Hey, put the gun down! Now!
Put the gun down!
Gun down! Hey, go there. Put the gun down now!
4-3, hold there. 1 at gunpoint.
Put the gun down now!
Put the gun down! Put the gun down!
Our perp here, Robbie McRobertson, he completely ignores the officer, starts walking down the road with a gun in his hand. I've sped this up for the sake of time. Officers are gonna chase him down the road, telling him to put the gun away and put the gun down about 378 times. And they're gonna chase him and he's gonna walk some and run some all the way into an apartment complex. And it is gonna get fast, furious, and crazy. I'm gonna skip ahead. If you wanna watch all of this and all of its details, hit the link in the description to the original by Houston PD. There's badge cams galore there. So listen into what happens when they finally take him into custody.
Hey, get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground!
Now! Let's go! Watch
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Get on the ground!
Get on the ground!
I don't have one. Hey, I'm on
Deploy taser.
Get on the ground! Hold him.
Get on the ground!
Come on, man. Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Put your taser on.
Taser!
All right, turn up. Hey, you're on the ground now. I won't hurt you. You're on the ground.
I do believe that officer went to Fred Warner's off-season tackling camp because it worked rather well for him to get that guy on the ground. He says, oh, I don't have a gun. They did find the gun that he had ditched over near the fence a little bit earlier. So this guy ends up charged with just a cornuplethora of charges of, aggravated robbery and armed, possession by a felon and all kinds of other stuff. Thankfully, the other guy wasn't badly hurt. The shot that went off while they were wrestling over his gun, didn't hit anybody. No officers were harmed here. And as you can see, our perp here is a little bloody because his armed robbery victim gave him what for, as it were. He covered his own asp.
I mean, what's going on in somebody's mind where he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna walk off from these cops holding a gun. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Good grief, Mike. Just another Tuesday on the night shift, huh? Couple of dudes that we don't know what's an armed robbery going on, but we've got a fight in progress here. And I do think the officers do a pretty good job of kind of just, they're not super chalant here. They're pretty nonchalant. Just, all right, guys, let's get up and figure this out.
Yeah, this is something, you know, in a city as big as Houston, I don't care what city it is, you know, Houston being a particularly dangerous place, but anywhere you go, a city this large, you're just going to have fights every night of the week. So this is literally just Tuesday for these two cops. It's another two more guys fighting. They're probably making some assumptions that normally would be safe, like, oh, these two are probably drunk and fighting over something goofy that's really, really not worth fighting over. They wouldn't be doing it if they weren't drunk. But when approaching them, officers, you have to keep in the back of your mind, this could be not what it appears to be. All that stuff on the ground kind of made me scratch my head a little. Like, I think I'd pay attention. Like, what is all that on the ground? Normally when two people are fighting, there isn't a field of debris around them. So, you know, just something to think about.
Well, and you can see there, he actually reached, the officer had his foot on the gun that was there, and dude reached and grabbed the gun and pushed the officer off and grabbed the gun. That was a clue right there. Now I'm gonna say here, boy, there's a lot of passivity. And when people say, oh, all cops are just looking for excuses to shoot somebody, I think this video gives the lie to that. They told this guy to put the gun down about 9,654 times. And I do think, Mike, that our current political climate kind of makes officers hesitant in situations like this. And now again, they don't know in that moment that this guy has committed aggravated assault with a firearm, but given what's going on here, is this guy a threat to these officers and to the community? I think he is.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's one of those things that they don't really cover it in the academy. There's no scenario like, okay, you've just broken up a fight and now there's a gun on the ground and the guy is starting to reach for it. Well, when can I, should I, must I shoot someone in this situation? And the answer is they could have potentially been completely legally justified in shooting him as he was reaching for it or when he grabbed it. But then he kind of grabs it and they let him get up and they let him run. And now it's sort of this running not gun battle. This running not gun battle is really what it is. And the question is, does any Supreme Court decision apply here where I need to stop this guy by shooting him as he's running away? Well, not really, because we don't know he's committed a crime yet. Right now, he's just some guy who just been in a fight and he's just running away. So I think, you know, you could argue that holding your fire was the right thing to do here. And this does give lie to this idea that all the cops are just trigger happy, you know, complete crazy people that want to shoot somebody. Now, listen, if you are chasing someone who had a gun a moment ago and now is telling you that he doesn't, do what these cops do. Don't take his word for it. Hey, guy, you just grabbed a gun and ran from me after a fight. I'm not going to let you date my sister. I'm not going to let you borrow my car. And I'm not going to take your word for it that you don't have a gun anymore. But I think these guys did a commendable job of sort of just staying with him and keeping this going until coming to as peaceful a conclusion as possible.
Yeah, and now listen, he goes to the taser. Okay, fine. I think the taser was a wrong idea here, quite frankly. And I get it. Officers are often issued tasers today. It is standard issue almost everywhere. But this guy is wearing a jacket that is loose on him. There's almost 0% chance a taser is going to be useful. When it's used inside of its use window, a taser is 100% effective. But the second you step outside its use window, it is 0% effective. And this is why you got to have other less lethal tools and also a willingness to go hands-on. So when you use a taser outside its use window, it ain't going to work.
Yeah, agreed. You know, and I'm not sure if there was a point, unless they sprayed these two guys right away on contact, which they could have done. They could have done that reasonably to quote unquote end the fight. But at this point, I'm not sure what other options they have. Pepper spray, he's at a pretty good distance. It's tough to say if it would work or not. You know, and I'm going to fast forward to the end here. The guy that tackled him was incredibly brave because they still didn't know whether or not he was armed. But he just got, as Sean Connery once said in the movie Untouchables, enough of this running crap and just decided to end it. But at this point, they were kind of in a jackpot because they don't really feel comfortable shooting the guy. Obviously, he's not threatening them actively. He could still have a gun. They don't know. This is one of those things they don't teach you about in TV and movies. These are those moments during law enforcement that are hard to navigate. They're hard to know what is the right thing to do. And these guys did the best job they could under the circumstances, I think.
And again, this gives us a mental rep, right? This gives us an opportunity to say, what kind of should we do? And I love here, we're just gonna call this officer Terry Tate. He is the police officer linebacker here. And he just decides, you know what, hold on, man. And the lesson that I want us to think about here, when kind of nobody's in charge, somebody's gotta take charge. He decides, I got this, and he is going to take charge. And I think that takes a lot of bravery when there's a lot of people around, because groupthink sets in, but initiative really matters, and he did a very good job of that here.
Yeah, and no shade at the other officers. I think they were all trying their hardest to do the right thing in a really kind of muddy, unclear situation. And this other officer, I don't know if he was there from the beginning or not, but he sees what's happening and he's like, okay, well, we have to end this sooner than later. If the guy, I'm sure part of what was going through his head is, if this guy is in fact armed, and we just continue to chase him around ineffectually yelling, drop the gun, eventually we could have a hostage, we could have a problem, he could duck into an apartment, we don't know. So we just got to end this as quickly as we can. And he did what he thought was right, and I think he did the right thing under the circumstances. But still, I don't know if people appreciate how incredibly brave it was for him to holster his gun and approach this guy, but it was incredibly brave.
And really, that takes bravery. And it takes a willingness to understand, I can overpower this guy. I'm bigger than him, I'm stronger than him, maybe if you're not bigger, I've got better technique than him. And great takedown here. Hey, I went low, I'm gonna get this guy and get him around the waist, and that waist lock and drop is a very effective tactic. It is taught to most officers in their defensive tactics. He does a very good job of that here, but hear me, officers, I really think this is why a little bit of extra time, and whether that's in judo class, jiu-jitsu class, whether that is, you know, as long as you're doing takedowns and not always starting sitting on your butt, that's a big deal. Whether it's catch wrestling or you know, high school, college style wrestling, having some ability to take a person to the ground, really helpful in this kind of endeavor.
100%. This is something you can do in the mat room. So if your defensive tactics, or whatever your agency calls it, your quarterly training usually goes along with your firearms training. If your DT training is insufficient, it's on you to get your own training. I mean, I can't imagine there's many towns and cities in the United States anyway that don't have one jiu-jitsu studio in them. I'm sure, I mean, you can't swing a dead cat where I live and not hit a jiu-jitsu studio. So go out and get some training, because this sort of thing isn't natural. If you didn't play football, if you didn't wrestle in high school or college, then tackling someone and doing it properly is an art form. It is something you have to practice doing, but it's not like it's a master's level course. It's something you can learn with a dummy or with another person in a mat room. So go out there and get that training if you don't have it, because this guy clearly was very confident in his ability to do what he did.
He really did, and now we've got a polyester pileup. Good for the rest of them, not just kind of observing, but stepping in. And listen, why was that appropriate? Because he could see both his hands, and he could see the fact that he didn't have a gun in his hand in that moment. That's what made that appropriate. Guy had a gun, hey, totally different story, and it would have been completely inappropriate. But again, you're making second-by-second decisions, and our officer who went in and made that tackle should be commended for his bravery, commended for his technique, commended for his initiative. Really, really good job. In a crazy, weird situation, he covered everyone's ass.